Hi everyone. We'll just give a minute or so just for the remaining few to join, and then we'll just get right into it. Maybe just a couple seconds.
Give everyone a few more minutes and then, yeah, let's get started.
Right, yep, let's just get started. Right, well, appreciate you all taking the time out of your busy days to join this. This is Smarter Solutions to Power Your Agency in 2025. Again, just general housekeeping. Session will be recorded and shared after if you do need it. I do ask everyone cameras are off, which, I think they are. We also have a Q&A panel. So if you do have any questions, feel free to ask them and we'll try our best to get through all of them. As you can see, I stick out like a sore thumb here. My name's Sufyan. I'm an account executive here at Bullhorn. I've helped 61 businesses make the transition to Bullhorn this year. Also have my colleague Jake on the call, who's a solution consultant here at Bullhorn, and he'll be going through a live demonstration of the platform shortly. And then we also have Georgina and Matthew. They're one of our Bullhorn customers, and it'll just be a great opportunity to hear about Bullhorn from an end user perspective. Also stick to the end. We do have a promo, an offer going on for new customers. If you're looking to make the jump, just stick to the end, and we've got something for you. Quick agenda. Again, it's a relatively short session today. So in the next about 30 minutes or so, I'll walk you through Bullhorn solutions, specifically for the SMB remit, some of our latest innovations for Bullhorn in terms of automation and AI. Again, it's a really big buzzword. We're going to show you what it means here at Bullhorn. And then, as I said, Jake will take you through a live demonstration of Bullhorn, just so you can see it live. Again, we're just going to do it at a very high level overview, just highlighting it. But if you are exploring a new solution right now, just after the call, reach out to myself or someone on the team, and we can schedule some time, just get into it in a lot more detail for you. So Bullhorn for small businesses, Bullhorn. Couple points on the screen. These are what customers have told us. It's easy to use and learn. It's very intuitive. Again, if it wasn't, it would just be a hassle to use. And people just use the platform. Route efficiency. So we've got things like automation, AI, as I said, just to streamline your processes, prioritizing your business needs. Again, just making sure that everyone is focused on revenue generating tasks, and just client relationships, just making sure that you're building better relationships and winning more business overall. There's a big number here on the right. Big misconception is that Bullhorn is solely just for the big dogs, 50, 100 plus users. 76% are actually 1 to 10 users. We do love the space and they love us too. For today, based on my talks with SMB clients, we're going to start with the front office solution of Bullhorn. Again, in today's market, a CRM typically doesn't really cut it. If anything, it's more of a standard now. We appreciate recruiters need solutions for other things around the business, and front office does just that. So sales and recruiting would be your ATS and CRM, automation, just driving efficiency, analytics, just allows you, again, desk level insights, making sure you're making data-driven decisions. And then we have our AI assistant just to help you with these, daily mundane tasks. Again, quickly on the AI piece, Jake will go through it on the demonstration, but the whole point is we're going to show you what it means. We're going to show you what it means for us over here at Bullhorn. Again, probably ask 10 different people. They're going to give you 10 different explanations of what automation is. And the whole point is really just to automate these mundane tasks and get your recruiters actually doing the revenue generating tasks, the tasks that really matter. That being said, I'll actually hand it over to Jake now, and he'll be able to go through a live demonstration of Bullhorn.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Sufyan. Without kind of wasting any more time, let's just dive straight into the demo. And we're going to be starting off this kind of walkthrough of the solution when it comes to the front office package, and we'll dive straight into the analytics suite. So how I'm going to be walking through the solution today is very much looking at the solution from a desk level consultant's perspective. So here, I'm Zach. I'm just logging into my system. How we can configure the Bullhorn solution is so that as soon as I log in as a consultant, in this case, Zach, I can immediately see, okay, with this traffic light system, what are my KPIs and how I'm performing against the KPIs that have been set for me, in this case, for this particular week. And as we can see, for the metrics that I have, such as adding new candidates to the system, adding new clients, jobs, interviews, and how much revenue I'm generating off of my placements, I immediately have an insight into, okay, where do I need to prioritize my efforts here? Where should I be focusing on? And in this case, based on the figures that I can see, it's probably generating more candidates, generating more interviews and adding a few more candidates to the system. With the one view page, it's also a very powerful tool from a management perspective, as we do have the ability to look at data, not only from data and activity that's happening across the company, but we can also break it down and segment it, looking at activities and efforts being made by particular teams, and we can even see the efforts and activities that people are carrying out against specific clients within our database. So you can really have a good insight as to overall what's being worked on across the system. The analytics tool is also going to track and provide us a wide array of kind of live metrics and activity summaries, just to give you an idea of what is happening in regards to your consultants day to day across the database. And we can also provide them with data points such as, for example, data quality insights, ideally metrics that we want to keep at 0. And if any of these do pop up, now the consultant has this information at their hand, that they can be a little bit more accountable when it comes to keeping the database a little bit clean, as well as providing them, if you so desire, with a few of their ratios, just so that they understand their performance from a management perspective, understand where potentially we should redirect our efforts when it comes to learning and potential development for these consultants. All of these activities and these metrics that we're looking at, these are pretty typical. These are the standard metrics that everyone will be looking at. And what's quite unique about our solution is we take the information and we look at the activity that's happening, and we take that a step further, and we'll provide you true valuable insights. And this comes in the form of the actionable insights metrics. And this is where we don't just look at what's being done in the system, we'll identify areas that aren't being done. So for example, where I have a KPI of adding new candidates to the database, the system is actually going to prompt me and remind me that of these new candidates that have been added to the system recently, this is how many haven't been sent forward to a job or to a contact. And same with the new jobs that I'm adding to the database. That's all well and good, but off the back of these BD efforts that we've made, we need to ensure that we're actually sending candidates over to these clients. And here we're highlighting those jobs where there's been no submissions for the past 2 weeks. So the system is designed to really benefit not just management from an analytics and an insight perspective, but really benefit all of your users, so that if anything does slip through the net, the system can identify it and help them be as successful as they can, try and generate as much revenue as possible. So from Zach's perspective, let's say that I've now looked at the list of candidates where I haven't sent them a job. And I've also looked at the list of live jobs where I haven't submitted any candidates. And let's say out of that list, I had this senior full stack developer role, and I saw that Jack is somebody who I haven't actioned yet in the database. And there could be a good kind of overlap. Potentially Jack could be a suitable candidate here. Jack is a candidate that I added, I kind of forgot about, and I haven't done anything with him. So traditionally here, what we'll be doing is looking at the CV and looking at the various fields, the various information such as employment history, his education and qualifications, to get a sense of who this candidate is and where his kind of strengths lie in regards to, I suppose, like a skill set and the particular niche that Zach as a consultant will be working in. Now what we can do, thanks to the growth of the front office packages, is that we can leverage an AI assistant tool. So what we've delivered with the Bullhorn solution is embedded directly within the ATS is an LLM that allows you to, at the push of a button, have AI assist you in doing certain actions. So in the case of me trying to understand really who Jack is, where his strengths lies, I can have the system summarize Jack's profile for me. And the system can look at really interesting data points that we've already marked and have within the database, such as the CV, what skills, specialities, or job categories we may have hard coded based on how we like to organize our database, as well as looking at information that the parser would have captured, such as employment history and education. For this content, we can also modify the tone. We can modify the length of the message depending on how snappy we want to receive this information. At the push of a button, we can now generate this, and this information will become very easily available to us. We're seeing in the market a lot of individuals leveraging tools like ChatGPT, for example, for helping them with small sort of messaging and email sort of content like this, just to help them be a little bit more productive. Now, rather than pushing that data outside of the system, we can leverage what's already there, taking elements like, for example, the CV to really tailor our messaging. And in the case that we just mentioned, where we're considering Jack for this senior full stack developer role, I can actually create screening questions for Jack based on the data points that I already have on his record, but I can also consider the particular job that we're considering Jack for, so that all of these questions are going to be super tailored, super specific for that particular case point. And again, we're leveraging all the data once again, so that we can rely on the database, encourage people to always be inputting information, and Bullhorn become your main source of truth and have that true database first sort of approach. Now, these functionalities, when it comes to the AI assistant being able to help us, are not just available on the candidate record. As you can see here, the screening questions that the system's generated for us. We could go ahead and copy them to the clipboard, and then we could carry out whatever actions we'd want to do. They aren't just available to the candidates, they're also available and functionalities exist on the job record as well, such as here, for example, on the job that we were just mentioning, it seems like the client shared to us a very weak, very small job description. Here, once again, we could leverage the AI assistant tool to maybe improve the job description off of the job title based off of as well the current information that's in that internal description. We can now have the system help us and enhance that description so that we can then push it to market, try and generate a bit more interest from our candidates. As always, because we are working off of an LLM, we can go ahead and insert custom prompts. So for example, if I wanted to remove the bullet points here from this particular message, I can go ahead and insert those instructions so that the format can be a little bit different for me. Now, let's imagine that I've gone through all of this. I've leveraged the AI tool to assist me, try and be more productive and a little bit faster when it comes to syncing Jack in this particular role together. I reached out to Jack, and for whatever reason, we didn't hear back from him. It was a shame, but it happens. And we often see across our customers' databases and across the industry, we'll bring in a candidate for a specific role. Maybe we can't establish communication, and that candidate profile remains dormant. Nothing really happens with it. So what we can do here is leverage the automation tool, and in particular, leverage our survey capabilities. And what we can do with the automation tool is we could send an email like this to all of the candidates within the database whose profiles haven't had any status changes. There's been no notes added. They'll receive a quick message like this, and they'll have the opportunity to read a message and essentially update their information. As embedded within a message like this, we can add the survey. And this is where a survey can be floating above your agency's website, and they'll have the ability to update their answers. Now, it looks like, unfortunately, I seem to have a technical error with my survey. So if you bear with me 1 second, I'll find you another example for that. Apologies there. It wouldn't be a demonstration without something going wrong. But we'll be able to find you a good example of how these surveys can be leveraged. As with these questions and with the surveys that I'll show you in a second, you have the opportunity to really essentially tailor the questions and ask your candidates any sort of information you want or you need. So for example, if we look at, well, apologies, I'll have to come back to the automated surveys in a second. It seems to be my example is struggling a little bit. But what I can show you is, in general, how these automated surveys work when it comes to the engagement score. Apologies, we're having to improvise a little bit. But if I go to a candidate record here, Floyd May, on the candidate record, we'll have what we call the automation tab. And off the back of these surveys, we actually have the ability to ask any sort of questions that we want. And inside of these questions, we can relate the candidate's answers to a specific field within the Bullhorn system on the candidate's record and have the system and have these candidates automatically update their fields. So if somebody, for example, notifies us that they are available for work, the system could track all of this information, and this gets translated into what we call the engagement score. And how it works is for any candidate that's enrolled in one of these automated cadences, they'll receive a score of 50, and that will increase or decrease over time based on activity or inactivity. And in this case, an individual with a score of 98, we have a strong indication that this person is very, very active. They engage with the brand a lot. And on the activity feed here, we can see the sort of questions that we've answered them and how they've responded to us. We can also see the emails that we send via the automation tool and via the automated cadences that we can create, which ones they've opened and which ones they've clicked. This information isn't obviously just siloed on an individual's record on a one-to-one basis like this. We can leverage Bullhorn's list view functionality so that, for example, I could see a list of candidates, and the additional data point that we'll be focusing on here, being the engagement score, would allow us at a glance to identify and compare individuals based on who is the most motivated here, who is the most consistent when it comes to reading my emails. Say you have a role where you're limited as to how many candidates you can put forward. This provides you an extra data point to know who's the most reliable, who's the one who's most likely going to be with us right until the end of this process and maybe not go for another role. This is obviously a powerful tool when we consider it for candidates, but it's even more powerful when we consider it from the BD perspective, how we can engage our contacts. As this is where, when we're doing BD efforts, at a glance, I can tell, for example, whether or not I really need to pitch our services or whether this is somebody that we've engaged a lot with. And ideally, someone like, say, Kevin here with a score of 98, he may well even remember who I am, and he may even have my phone number stored on his mobile, on his device, based off of the last placement I may have had with him. And with the automation tool in hand, we're able to build cadences, which I'll show you in a minute. We can also start managing our whole BD cycles thanks to our specific leads and opportunities entities. So the lead record is very much designed for any individual that we've never worked with in the past. We can essentially create a new lead record, start mapping out whether or not they work for a company that we've already had business with or not. And if they haven't, and if there is a potential interest here, this is something worth actively pursuing, we can go ahead and create a new opportunity record. And this is where you can design and have in place your real kind of sales process, with all of this being tailorable when it comes to the stages in the workflow. And how we've designed it is so that once that you've worked through essentially this opportunity, you've negotiated the terms, have the paperwork signed in place, we can now convert this opportunity record into a tangible job record that then somebody else within the team can start filling, and we can start putting candidates forward for it. So when it comes to the automation tool, how do we go about building these cadences? Well, for an automation, when it comes to a survey, I'll show you at least what the back end looks like here. We can go ahead at the push of a button and start asking a series of questions. So here, the first example that I had is I'm presenting the candidate with the email that I have on their record as a merge field, and I'm asking whether or not it is their preferred email, and if not, they can update it. And all of their responses, as I mentioned earlier, we can pick and choose which field in the Bullhorn system on the candidate record this is going to now update. And we can now build a series of questions like this that are really interesting. And what we can also do is branch our questions. So here, for example, where I'm asking if they're potentially considering new work opportunities, we can branch the options, in this case, yes or no. So if they are, I can ask them when they're looking to start a new role. But if they're not, I can still acquire that information if I just word it differently. And in that case, I can ask, well, when is your current project expected to end? Or when would be a good time for us to maybe reach out in the future? The tool can be really intelligent like this. And if we combine, obviously, the engagement score, this is a further data point that helps us reach out to our target audiences more effectively. And for the automations, we can be really smart in regards to how we can go about building cadences. So if I showed you how to build one from scratch, we'll go to the automation area here. But without even having to start from scratch and kind of learn all of this from the ground up, the automation tool out of the box is going to provide you with a series of blueprints. So let's say I wanted to reach out, have an automation specifically centered around my sales contacts. I wanted to try and really build a standardized sales process across the team and have a series of automations that ensured that nothing slipped through the net. So for example, I want an automation to follow up on sales contacts after we've made a cold call. I can already see the steps that the system has already built for me and the recommended workflow that comes out of the box for the system. I can go ahead and start working off of this, or I could working off of this and running it, making it live. But I can also very easily make amendments to it. You're not starting from scratch, and you don't need to be an engineer to do any of this, because all of it, as you may have noticed already, is completely codeless. How the automation tool works when it comes to defining who we want to target, we'll create a list. In the case of these blueprints, the lists are already built for us, and we have the option for any of these automations to have it as a kind of one-time campaign, or we keep our list so that it's always updated, and so that anyone that matches the criteria that we have below here, automatically they're going to experience and going to receive essentially all of the actions and all of the changes that we can pick and choose in a second when it comes to automated cadence. So here in this case, I'm looking for sales contacts where the note type is outbound called. It have been added less than a day ago, and their current status within the database is passive and lead. And now, what do I want the system to do automatically for me? Well, after an hour of adding a cold call and adding that note to the candidate's record, we'll send them an email. After 3 days, let's say I want to add a task onto the consultant's into the consultant's to-do list. Maybe 3 days is too long based on how you prefer working. So instead, 3 hours after that email is sent, then we'll add a task directly to your consultant, or it can be immediately. You can get rid of that wait segment altogether. And if we want to add additional steps, maybe we want to, for example, send a notification to the candidate by email. We can absolutely do that. But the automation tool, it's really one of these fascinating tools where once you start playing around with it, you'll realize that it's very easy to control. The settings that we provided for you when it comes to the realm of what's possible in regards to how you can engage your target audiences and some of the information you can capture back, how it can benefit the overall health and quality of the database, it really becomes powerful. As we can also run, for example, automations where we can have a campaign that automatically manages candidate redeployment. We can identify candidates 90 days before they finish their current contract. We can start sending them messages asking if they want an extension or if it's likely that they're going to start looking for a new project. For when we place a candidate, as the automation tool comes with a host of marketing capabilities, we can also capture information and do post-placement campaigns where we want to track our NPS score to identify throughout our candidate experience where we can improve, where potentially there's areas of friction. And within the tool itself, we'll have a whole dashboard where we can have an understanding of, okay, how effective each of our automations are and how many individual fields across the database are being updated off the back of automated cadences like this. So from an automation perspective, that was everything that I wanted to cover. I'll hand over back to Sufyan, as in the background, if we have a little bit of additional time at the end here, I'll show you an example of a live automation due to my slight technical error here. Hopefully I can show you a live one in just a few moments. So Sufyan, I'll hand over back to you.
Cheers. Appreciate it, Jake, for the very high level overview of Bullhorn. Really, really fascinating. As I said earlier in this call, we do have one of our customers, Georgina and Matthew. They're Bullhorn customers, and it's just a chance to hear about Bullhorn from an end user perspective. So I guess starting with Georgina, just a bit about yourself and some background.
Hi, so yes, my name's Georgina Gilbert. I've been at GetRecruit. I'm the senior marketing executive, and I've been here for just around 3 years now. GetRecruited, we're an SME recruitment company, and we specialize in marketing, finance, insurance, and sales recruitment.
Nice. And yourself, Matthew?
I mean, I think Georgie covered most of it there. So yeah, I'm the managing director here. We've been in business for sort of around 19 years now. I suppose starting originally from myself and sort of scaling the business to sort of 10 of us where we are at the moment. Obviously the sectors that Georgie's already sort of covered off in terms of what we do, very sort of active around technology, and we actually find sort of systems and sort of a way to sort of scale our business without needing to always add people to the organization. So very much a bit of a tech geek, really, when it comes to sort of things like this.
Yeah, nice. You always needed the tech wizards.
Not even a wizard, just quite like it.
Nice. You said that you've been operating for 19 years. How long have you used Bullhorn for?
We've used Bullhorn now around about 13, 14 years, so a bit of a veteran really when it comes to sort of working with Bullhorn.
13, 14 years. Yeah, I remember I was still in secondary school during that time.
I had hair.
Yeah. Time goes by. I mean, probably it's been a while, right? But I guess if you remember, why did you decide to go ahead with Bullhorn in the first place?
Yeah, it's a good question. So, well, I suppose it probably makes sense to go back a couple of steps. Actually, we'd actually worked with 2 prior ATS partners before. I won't sort of name names as such on here, but I suppose instantly we knew what we didn't want, if that makes sense. We sort of used sort of platforms where they didn't really think like recruiters do in terms of workflows. And I think from a scalability perspective, we couldn't really see it sort of helping our business grow beyond sort of 1 or 2 people, and I suppose speed of services. So we actually demoed quite a number of different ATS partners, Bullhorn being one of them. And I suppose the real big selling points for us as an organization, look, global player, continually investing in the platform, and I suppose that usability that works well with how recruiters want to, I suppose, run their day, run their desk, to I suppose get the efficiencies out and I suppose make placements, which is the aim of the game. And I suppose they were the core reasons, but we actually could see it growing with us. Support for a business of our size was absolutely vital. That we don't have an IT team. Whilst I am sort of tech minded, I'm not a techie, and so we do need the backing of a good support team to help us to when things do go wrong, which is natural with technology, that they can back us all the way through that. And that was one of the big factors. We did actually speak to some other Bullhorn customers as well, and that's their resounding sort of reference really sort of supported what was being told to us in these sort of types of early discussions we were having. It sort of really make us want to join, and that's why we're still here.
Yeah, no, definitely. You mentioned that again, we're not gonna name any, but as you said, you changed ATSs. I guess it was a while ago again. So I mean, to your best, if you remember, what was the experience like? And again, I get this question asked a lot, and I'm probably asking for a lot of people on the panel. I certainly do when I was talking to clients. What is the experience like from changing from one CRM to Bullhorn?
Yeah, I mean, I think firstly, it's a really crucial sort of question that anyone really should be asking. I mean, data is the lifeblood of a recruitment business, in terms of ensuring that we don't lose information. So we asked lots of questions. We did our due diligence. That's one of the reasons we wanted to engage with other customers as well, just to kind of get a bit of a picture of things. It was it was successful, is the long and short of it. But actually the guidance and the preparation work and the support and the communication from Bullhorn was second to none really throughout that entire process. Nothing went wrong, and that's because it was well planned, well prepared, and I guess if we were consulted and communicated with all the way through that process. So no data loss, successful migration, and limited sort of impact really on the team, which I think is really the core thing to be thinking about outside of data, is what's going to happen to my productivity, how's that going to impact revenue. I can only say it was smooth, and we had some sort of seamless really transition across to Bullhorn.
Nice. Yeah, straight to the point. No, I'm glad. I'm really glad. Georgina, I do want to ask you a question as well. Just Bullhorn in general, how does it help you day to day as a marketing executive?
Yeah, so many ways. So we use Bullhorn for data cleanliness, lead generation. We reduce our marketing admin, and also a lot for candidate communication as well. One thing that is really stand out for us is probably the surveys that Jake mentioned. So right from the outset, when somebody signs up to our website, we send them a sector-specific survey from automation, which asks them in-depth questions that they can match alongside their CV. So we'll ask them about the qualifications they have, any specific niche skill sets they have, and the location that they're based as well. So right from the outset, this automation translates it through to our Bullhorn ATS system. So it's readily available information that's readily available to our recruiters straight away. So it helps the recruiters from that point. But from a marketing standpoint, we can then set up personalized job alerts based off what they've said. And we can set up tailored content campaigns based off this. So we can send them tips and tricks that are not just recruitment focused, but they're sector focused as well. So that creates value for both our recruiters and our candidates in that aspect. But once we've sent that survey, that's not it. So we'll regularly check up. We'll send a similar survey maybe 6 months later if we've not had any touch points with that candidate, just so we can make sure that our data is really, really fresh on that standpoint. But as well as that, using analytics, we can use real-time data to shape our campaigns, and we can see exactly where our candidates and clients are in that funnel, so we can shape our communications accordingly. But also we can personalize that. So if there's any specific information that we want to know, whether that be candidate or client focused, we can set up this in the admin side of our Bullhorn. So it's not just Bullhorn telling us what we should know, it's us really finding out what we want to know about our candidates, clients, and what our recruiters need to know.
No, perfect. Perfect. I know you touched on it when it came to the automation, how you're using it, and some analytics. I guess just Bullhorn in general, what would you say is the most valuable thing to you?
Oh, so I think the integration of all of the platforms together, like as I mentioned, all of our automations translate onto our ATS platform and our analytics. But as well as this, we have aspects that, you know, our website, for example, isn't a Bullhorn website, but we have a chat box on our website that is through Bullhorn automation. So again, we use automation to set up that chat box to have FAQs that we can guide clients and candidates to specific locations on our website. So having that integration of everything and then translating that onto each aspect of that Bullhorn touches is really, really valuable. But not only that, it's an easy interface to use. So before Get Recruited, I was new to the recruitment industry. So having the simplicity of the Bullhorn platform and being able to get my head around that really fast was beneficial to me and the marketing team.
Yeah, no, definitely. I was also what you'd call a greenfield hire. First time in recruitment. They had Bullhorn, but it was first time in recruitment. I think I got to grips with the system, I'd say like 2 weeks into it, not having done recruitment before, not knowing what an ATS is. Yeah, it was just really intuitive to learn.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. I guess I got one more question. It will be to yourself, Matthew. I guess there's probably people here, and I know there's a lot of people that I speak to. They're either looking to make the jump to Bullhorn from, let's say, like a system they're currently on, or just no system. I know a lot of people still working on Excel. I guess what recommendations, would you make to anyone considering the jump to Bullhorn?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose recommendation-wise, do your homework, do your research. I think that's always sort of vital when you're making any kind of significant change to your business. I think Georgie touched on a little bit about how it integrates and plays well together. And I think that you've got to think about not just about where you are now, about where you want to go on your journey in terms of growth. Bullhorn's investing into the platform, and I think that's a key piece. We're on the, I say we're on the sort of the verge of AI. AI is already there, but this is the beginning, right? And you need to be partnering with somebody who's going to invest in this long term. Otherwise, as the playing field levels with AI, if you're not working with a partner that's chucking a lot of cash at this, then you're going to get left behind when it comes to your recruiting process. So I think that's sort of a really key point. And the bit that Georgie touched on is how the system you choose integrates with other sort of partners. So of course we use a number of different Bullhorn tools, but we've actually integrated other partners like our phone system, our website. We even had an independent developer plugged directly into Bullhorn's open API. So we've actually been able to sort of put there. In fact, we're not interested in anything that doesn't integrate with Bullhorn, because if it doesn't, the recruiters don't use it. They don't log into different systems separately. You want your recruiters putting everything back into Bullhorn, saving the data all in one place. You don't want an e-marketing platform over here, a phone system over here, call recordings there. You need it all coming back into the system, because as AI evolves, all of those data points are going to be absolutely vital, really, for you to take your business to the next level. And that's why, you know, we're heavily invested. We go to all of the webinars, we go to all of those sort of pieces. So it isn't just for us, it's not just about the onboarding and, oh, you're a Bullhorn customer. There's lots of workshops, there's lots of sort of pieces you can get involved with the subject matter experts that you can really work on your business. And it's built with the recruiter in mind. You know, whether you're an admin person, a recruiter, or a director of a business, it's simple enough for you to get your head around with a bit of a basic training so you can use the system and customize it to your own business. So the other things I think you should be thinking about is how you sort of staying on the lines of keeping along with technology and partnering with someone who's really investing in the space.
No, definitely. And you're speaking with 13 years of experience using Bullhorn. So again, it's very, very valuable.
And another 7 years of mistakes. So
Yeah, you have to make the mistakes along the way when there's ups, there's downs.
Absolutely.
Oh no, I appreciate both of your time. Again, thank you for hopping on. Again, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you for answering the questions.
Yeah, no.
That being said, we do have a couple minutes, I think 5 minutes or so for Q&A. I think if we go ahead and do that, we've got an exciting offer here, as I said in the beginning. For anyone looking to make the jump, just scan the QR code. Again, you can always chat with myself or someone on the team. And again, we can go ahead and talk about Bullhorn if you're deciding to make that jump. Just a little promo here until the 2nd of June for you. I'll leave this slide here open for everyone that's interested. While that's there, again, we'll just have time for Q&A for 3 to 5 minutes if anyone's got questions.
I have someone with a hand up there, I think.
Well, do we?
I mean, I've got a question there. How quick is the onboarding process? Again, every time I'm speaking with prospects, they ask the same thing. We've got something called an accelerated implementation process. So from start to finish, you'll be on a fully functional system within around 3 weeks. You get 2 free consulting calls, you get a kickoff call, and you also get a data import as well, if you are interested in that. We've also introduced something new with our very basic offering. We can actually get you live on the system with logins in about 48 hours, right? There isn't much technical stuff to happen in the background. So if you go with the most basic offering, we can get you live onto Bullhorn within 48 hours. So the turnaround is quick. And again, you'll be fully supported throughout. We have a Bullhorn hub. We can go ahead and access pre-recorded materials, frequently asked questions, reach out to support. As Matthew said, we're 24/7. We've got offices globally. Even if you are working 11 p.m., God forbid, you can reach someone in the States, live chat, phone call, or email.
Very nice. I also wanted to add, I see that there are a couple of questions appearing in the chat, so thank you very much. I wanted to add as well, you can leverage the QR code. I appreciate today, I seem to have a few difficulties showing you what a live automation would look like. We can leverage the QR code so you can schedule some time in with someone from the team where we'll be able to show you a more kind of in-depth view of the system where you can kind of do a deep dive there on that automation tool. I saw we had, so I'm just going to do them in order. I'm kind of seeing them pop through. I see we had a question from Dennis. We have automations already in use by Sense. How do we convert them into Bullhorn? That's a really good question. To my knowledge, and I can double check this question for you, Dennis, and we can get back to you. We would need to go ahead and kind of build automations from the ground up. But as you kind of seen, hopefully today, when it comes to putting those automations together and these cadences together, all of this is codeless. It's very easy to put together. Hopefully that answers your question. Sufyan, do you kind of want to read them out and like cover the next one?
Yeah, of course. Is the automation tool included in the basic ATS or is it an additional cost? So what Jake covered was something called our front office solution. We've got something called the front office growth. To answer your question, the basic version, no, we just have our basic version ATS as an option. If you want to go ahead and get one of our packages above our front office, that is included. or you could just get it as a standalone additional cost as well. Let's see, let me scroll through. I'm a big fan of video integration. A lot of my recorded videos are sent to clients. Have you found a Bullhorn integrated solution for that? Yes, we do. We do have, we're partnered with Odro. Jake, obviously you can correct me if I'm wrong, but Odro, one of our partners, and we can have video integration as well when it comes to BD. And then I think we also have Interview, I believe, Jake.
Off the top of my head, I believe so, but that's cool. That is potentially a conversation we could kind of expand on a little bit, and also bring in a marketplace partner and see also internally who else we kind of work with and integrate with specifically for those capabilities and how they could sync in with the Bullhorn system. So we'll probably need to dig into that a little bit deeper. But I think you are right, Sufyan. I think Odro is a potential partnership there.
Yeah, definitely. If you are, because I'm seeing it's sent to clients, if it is for BD perspective and clients, then yeah, I'd recommend Odro. More than happy to have a chat after this and I can put you forward to them. Does Bullhorn have a timesheet system? Right, okay, does Bullhorn have a timesheet system where temps can log in and check? We do, again, we have a marketplace full of partners, I think around 100 or so. We do have the capabilities for that. We'll just integrate with one of our partners. I think that's all the questions, unless I'm missing any, Jake.
Just wanted to, yes, I saw Fernando, you had a question regarding the timesheeting system, and just a little bit above you were mentioning, you were describing a little bit kind of your process there, high volume, various locations. Okay, so yeah, I understand what you mean there, Fernando. So when it comes to Bullhorn's capability to very easily organize candidate pools based on skill sets, locations, and being able to very quickly organize that, absolutely, our search functionalities combined with one of our features in the list views called favorited lists. These are lists that you will essentially be going to on a regular basis, will absolutely accommodate essentially and allow you to have layouts where you can very easily see, for example, available candidates with a skill set of Y in this region, and then at the push of a button, you can look at another favorited list of available candidates in location X with a totally different skill set. And the beauty of these favorited lists is they are completely dynamic. So when it comes to, in a few clicks, understanding who's available with this criteria, this given time, this location, the tool can absolutely help with kind of cater to that and that availability, especially for contractors. And as you've seen with the automation tool, building cadences, we could also very easily handle redeployment campaigns there as well. So I think, yeah, we could definitely kind of expand and show you a little bit more of the solution, how we could cater to that. Absolutely. Hopefully that's answer your question there. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Fernando. I think, Sufyan, we've got a question. You'll probably be best to cater there by Gabriel.
Yeah, I've seen that. I mean, all questions regarding partners also, again, more than happy to have a chat. I'm just conscious of the time. I'm more than happy, just schedule some time, connect with me on LinkedIn. I can have a chat with you regarding the partners as well. But yeah, the partners, they offer well, benefits. Obviously, they're one of our partners. So going with them and you're going ahead with Bullhorn, there are definitely some incentives and benefits to that as well. There we go. I think that's all the questions. Again, as I said, if you do want to schedule some time to have a demo, or you just got a quick question or two, just connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm more than happy to help. Scan the QR code. We can schedule some time for a deeper dive. But if that is all, I guess we can all hop off. Appreciate your time. Appreciate you hopping on. Again, appreciate it's probably very, very busy day for you. So thank you for hopping on.
Yeah, I want to say a big thank you for everyone attending, and a big as well thank you for Matthew and Georgina for hopping on the call and sharing your kind of experience and insights there using the Bullhorn solution. So thank you so much.